we're going to be going through Yurchenko progressions with Janara. So the very first progression we're going to do is just a step hurdle cartwheel on the beam onto the aero border mini tramp with just a straight jump up to a tall hollow onto the resi. And we're starting with a cartwheel rather than a round off, because if you start with the round off, a lot of times the girls tend to land with their chest down. So we're just going to do a cartwheel close and straight jump from a step hurdle. Step hurdle on the beam, hands on the beam, cartwheel feet on the aero board, and then just straight jump up to a tall hollow onto the resi. Close and straight jump. Alright, the next progression we're going to do the same thing, but instead of going up to tall hollow, we're going to try to go more back. So she's going to try to get her whole body into the resi, but we're still going to do it from a cartwheel close. So step hurdle, cartwheel close, try to punch back to your back as far as you can into the mat. Good. All right, the next third progression we're going to do is change the cartwheel to a round off. So she's going to step hurdle, round off punch, and same thing, trying to get her whole body into the mat. Okay, fourth progression, we're going to go round off handspring with a spot. Still from a step hurdle round off, the step hurdle, the round off, hands on the beam, round off feet on the aero board, and then back handspring into the resi, and just trying to land the back handspring nice and tall. Tall. Good. Next progression, fifth one, we're going to just basically do that by herself. So when I feel comfortable that she's got enough power and the step hurdle straight enough, she's got enough punch, she's in a pretty good shape on the springboard, I'm going to let her do the round off handspring by herself. Reach, and then tall. Good. All right, now since she's already done the round off handspring by herself up onto the resi, we're going to add some more mat height. So for the first one, I'm going to spot the back handspring. Same thing, just going a little bit more up off the aero board and trying to still land tall. Reach. Good. Okay, so this time she's going to do the round off handspring with the extra 8-inch mat by herself. Good. So you can see we've taken the beam away because she's gotten her step hurdle round off with good power. It's nice and straight. She was able to back handspring up onto these mats from the step hurdle on the balance beam. So now we're going to determine her normal running round off that she does on the floor, where she happens to do 3 steps in a hurdle. So to figure out where to start her on the tape measure, we're going to start where we want her to hit the board and do 3 steps in a hurdle and just a cartwheel close going that way to find her starting number. So go ahead with that. Good. So wherever she landed that, we're going to go back and do that this way, but actually do the round off handspring from her floor round off run to start with. So go ahead. Good. All right, so she's done the round off handspring up the mats with a spot. So I'm going to let her do that by herself from her normal floor round off run. So we'll go ahead and watch that. Good, very nice. And to progress from this point, we're going to add steps in increments of 2 so that her starting foot of her run and her hurdle foot of her round off run remain the same. So she would go from 3 steps in a hurdle to 5 steps in a hurdle to 7 steps in a hurdle. And as she starts developing more power from the bigger run, we would add at least 1 more 8-incher, and to the point where she's probably doing either 9 or 11 steps. And then when we've got at least 1 more 8-incher on there, then instead of blocking to her tall hollow, she would start blocking and then doing the pike to her back, which will video just that portion of the blocking drill in a separate video. Okay, so a supplementary drill that we set up every time we go to vault to work the portion of it that was at the end of the primary station over there. So we're eliminating the run, the hurdle, the round off, and all we're doing is the back handspring and the block. So she's just going to do a standing back handspring off the springboard and do the block and pike to her back, which we did not demonstrate over there because we didn't have the mat height that we wanted yet or the full run. But once you get to that point, then we would be doing this over on the primary drill also. So she's just going to go ahead and do the simple pike timer. So we don't actually do any tucked Yurchenko work. We go straight to the pike. So in level 8, that's the 10 start value vault. Level 7, you're not allowed to flip. So going from front handspring to this vault is a big jump, so you need to start training it as early as possible, which is why we do it as soon as the athlete can cartwheel. So the next progression would be an open pike timer, so that we start getting them used to having their arms where they're going to be when they start initiating a Yurchenko full. So she's going to go ahead and do the pike to her back, but instead of grabbing her legs, she's just going to pull her arms up. So go ahead and just do the pike timer, the open pike timer. Do you need another mat under the back of the wedge? Yeah, that's fine. Just block. Good, not bad. All right. So the next progression we're going to do is, instead of piking, we're going to try to keep her hips flat. The block and the lift with the arms is going to be the same. You'll notice most of the girls that are the best vaulters in the world are doing the twist with arms very, very high. So that's one of the reasons we're having them get away from doing the pike and open pike and layout timers with the arms down, so that they get ready to compete the Yurchenko full. So this time she's going to do the same arms, but instead of piking, she's going to try to stay straight body. So she's probably not going to miss her feet. She's probably just going to land on her feet, which is totally fine. So go ahead and just try to do the layout timer with the twisting arms. Good. That's fine. All right. And then the next progression of that is we're going to do the same layout, same arms, but we're going to add, she's a lefty twister, so she's going to look over her left shoulder after her hands clear the block. So she's going to land hopefully on her feet and then end up kind of twisting away. We're not trying to do any complete flipping, we're just trying to develop the block and the correct arms for the twisting and the correct shape in the hips for the salto portion of the vault. So go ahead and do the same thing. Try not to miss your feet and go to your back, just try to block, lift, and look over your left shoulder. So you might end up going to your stomach, but preferably feet and then stomach if that happens. Good, very nice. And the last drill we're going to demonstrate is we're basically just working the block and the arms. So if they're having issues coming off the table with correct body shape, or arms having issues, we're going to actually break this down one step further. So we're eliminating the back handspring. So she's going to put herself in an extreme arched handstand, eyes on her hands, open shoulders, open hips, with her hips on the pommel horse, and then just snap from that extreme arch to straight body or a very, very slight hollow with the same arms that she did the blocking drill. So we're just going arch to straight 3 times, and then we're also going to do 3 where she goes arch to straight but looks over the left shoulder and then returns. So go ahead and do 3 and 3. 3 straight and 3 twists. So that's the arch we want, maybe a little more open shoulders too. Good. Try not to arch up, just straight body. There you go. And then arch to straight turn. Arch to straight turn. Arch to straight turn. Okay. So maybe a little bit more arch in the handstand against the pommel horse. And you notice a couple of them she was actually blocking to a little bit arch. We'd rather stay that a little bit tight, maybe slight hollow. But you get the idea. So we're just isolating the block and the twist, or the block and the arms. And that's pretty much the 3 drills primary that we're doing for developmental Yurchenko. So as soon as the athlete has a cartwheel, there's no reason they can't start working this. So good luck, girls.